I'm here with the skipper for the Texas Ranger, Bobby Valentine.
Yes.
Bobby Valentine wasn't your average baseball mind. He coached like a mad scientist and managed like a showman.
Bobby Valentine, the dugout.
From a World Series appearance with stops as a restaurateur who supposedly invented the wrap sandwich, Valentine's journey is one of the most unpredictable and strangely brilliant on his way to becoming a global baseball icon. Bobby Valentine was a two-sport phenom. In fact, he was recruited to play football at Notre Dame and USC. But in 1968, the Dodgers made him the 5th overall pick in the MLB draft. In rookie ball, Valentine met his lifelong mentor, Tommy Lasorda, who managed him and helped fast-track his rise through the minors. By 1971, Valentine was MVP of the Pacific Coast League. But the Dodgers traded him to the Angels in 1972, and a year later, Valentine broke his leg chasing down a fly ball in center field, and a botched surgery left his leg permanently damaged. He never fully recovered, finishing his 10-year playing career with just 12 homers and a .260 average. Valentine was just 29 years old when he retired, and at that point managing his several restaurants in Connecticut. But baseball came calling again.
Well, once again, hi everybody, and welcome back to Shea Stadium and a sold-out.
After spending time as a scout for the Padres minor league affiliates, he ended up as the third base coach for Davey Johnson's Mets by 1985. That's when his old teammate, Tom Grieve, now Rangers general manager, called. Doug Rader was on the chopping block, and Valentine was offered the job.
Manager Valentine led his club into opening day with unreserved confidence that the Rangers would fulfill his goal of becoming baseball's most improved team.
At 35, Bobby V became the youngest manager in baseball. Valentine brought a fresh approach. He read Bill James before front office executives even knew who he was. He taught the Ted Williams uppercut swing years before launching it. He even cut the traveling scout to install a satellite dish to record opposing teams on VHR. Bobby had a reputation as a thinker. He wasn't afraid to try anything, even challenged the norm.
A key break with tradition was the use of footballs to improve baseball throwing skills.
I really am proud of the job that my coaches did this year. In particular, Tommy House working with the pitchers, a traditionalist who has some different ways of expressing traditional ideas.
The 1986 Rangers won 87 games with a young Ruben Sierra leading the way, but they would miss the playoffs, and that would be the high point for Bobby's time with Texas.
We just had a great meeting. They're all new owners. They're 1 year in. They want to know what's going on.
In 1988, George W. Bush purchased the team, and despite W's efforts, Bobby V was not seeing eye to eye with the scouting department. He wanted Frank Thomas in the 1989 draft. They took Donald Harris. He pushed for Mike Mussina in 1990. They picked Dan Smith.
He's a good manager. He's done a lot for this community. But having said that, we were concerned about this pennant race, the 1992 pennant race, getting away from us.
And despite being over 500, the team fired him 96 games into the 1992 season. But Bobby V would land on his feet quickly. This time, though, across the Pacific. The Mainichi Orions entered Japan's Pacific League in 1950. A few moves and name changes later, and they were known as the Chiba Lotte Marines. And the team's director was hell-bent on finding the first non-Japanese manager in league history. Intrigued by the pitch count analytics and metrics Valentine used in Texas, he hand-selected Bobby V. Valentine arrived with his trademark blend of looseness and intensity. But the rigid hierarchical structure of Japanese baseball was a major adjustment. He gave players days off and encouraged individuality, two concepts unheard of in Japanese baseball. Valentine clashed with ownership over his unconventional methods, and despite 20,000 fans signing a petition to keep him, the two decided to part ways after one season. As Bobby packed his bags, the New York Mets came calling. They wanted him as their next manager. But not with the big league club. The Mets told Bobby while he's in Japan they were planning to fire Dallas Green and hiring Valentine. But when he returned to the US, they only offered him the managerial job in AAA. With nowhere else to go, Bobby reluctantly accepted. Sure enough, by August of '96, the Mets canned Green and Bobby was promoted. Once again, handed chaos. Bobby brought structure to a fractured clubhouse, but the Mets were still a few years away from competing. 1997 was rough, but after the Mets traded for Mike Piazza in 1998, the fans had hope as they competed for a playoff spot through the last week of the season.
This club was ready each and every time, and they left nothing on the, in the clubhouse. They were ready each and every time.
Thanks, Matt. I'm not sure. We should have had a win here this last week.
The Mets would fall short that year, but 1999 would be different.
Give me your poor, give me your tired, give me your 8-game losing streak teams.
After a 7-game losing streak in May, the Mets fell under 500. And GM Steve Phillips had lost his patience, firing Valentine's entire coaching staff.
Well, we've been struggling. I think at 27 and 28, we're certainly underachieving as a team, and we thought we needed to make some changes. Our pitching has struggled. Our 5 starters have an ERA over 5.
In their place, he installed an interim group, unfamiliar with the players or Bobby's system. Rather than fold, the Mets went on a 40-15 run, as predicted by Bobby V.
The 2-1 pitch, hit in the air to deep left field. Back goes Curtis, looking up at the wall. It's out of here! Mike Piazza with a line.
And along the way, brought one of the most infamous moments in Valentine's career.
To go down, runner going, they pitch out. Piazza's throw, not handled. Bobby Valentine, I think Bobby Valentine might be arguing that in an attempt to protect the base runner, Stewart stepped across home plate.
He was fined, he was suspended, but the moment became instant legend. No other manager would dare. The Mets took off from there and made the playoffs. They pushed all the way to Game 6 of the NLCS, and though it ended in heartbreak, Bobby's fingerprints were all over the team's identity. Before the 2000 season, Mets ownership made their expectations clear. If Bobby didn't take the team to the World Series, he wouldn't be back. No pressure, right?
Swinging a drive deep down the left field line. Toward the corner. It's out of here! Out of here!
All the Mets did was win 94 games that year.
For the first time since 1986, the Mets are going to the World Series.
And then, the baseball world held its breath.
It is official. After 44 years, the 2 baseball teams playing in the Big Apple will meet in the Fall Classic.
The Subway Series is back. Fans could not be more excited.
It would be the first Subway Series since 1956. And right in the middle of it all was Bobby V, a kid from Connecticut who grew up a Yankees fan, met Joe DiMaggio as a high school recruit, and once played under Joe Torre. But there would be no storybook ending.
These guys play like you want people to play. They give it everything they had, and tonight it just wasn't enough.
It would be the only World Series Bobby ever managed in, And yet, his finest hour may have come the following season under the darkest of circumstances.
That's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway.
On the morning of September 11th, the Mets were in Pittsburgh. Bobby and the team boarded a bus the next morning, and after an 11-hour overnight trip, they arrived at Shea at 3 a.m. and got to work. When the team asked Major League Baseball if they could wear NYPD and FDNY caps, the league initially said no. Uniform rules, branding obligations, business as usual. But Bobby wasn't having it. He told the commissioner, this isn't a request. The Mets were going to represent their city.
Lopez wants it away. And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
I don't have a, you can convince me that Valentine had to go. I wouldn't have done it, but you can convince me.
After the World Series run in 2000, Bobby got a 3-year extension, but behind the scenes, friction with the front office was at an all-time high. He pleaded with Steve Phillips to sign Ichiro when he became available. Phillips said no. He pushed hard for Alex Rodriguez the next offseason. Again, no. When the Mets signed a past his prime Mo Vaughn in 2002, Bobby objected and was ignored once again. The Mets lost 86 games that season and Valentine was out. But Bobby V never stayed down for long, and his next stop would be a familiar one. It wouldn't be long before Bobby found himself back in Japan with Chiba Lotte. But this stint would be different. He studied the language. Immersed himself in the culture. He gave them their rest days, still frowned upon in Japanese baseball. But the team won, and Bobby became a megastar.
どうでしたか? Valentine Day はアメリカでは男性が女性に
He led Chiba Lotte to the Pacific League title, their first since 1974. Then a dominant Japan Series victory before winning the Asia Series. He was the first non-Japanese manager in league history, and now he was a champion and a national icon.
No, minasan ga ichiban desu. Arigatou gozaimasu.
The Boston Red Sox are looking for a new manager after firing Bobby Valentine earlier today.
After a few more seasons in Japan, Bobby returned stateside. His last MLB job came with the 2012 Red Sox. A thankless gig, overseeing a clubhouse still reeling from the Terry Francona fallout. But despite fizzling out that season, the impact Bobby V had on his teams, the game, and even the sport of baseball on a global level can't go unnoticed. Bobby Valentine never won a World Series, he never made the Hall of Fame, and never really fit the mold. But that's exactly what made him unforgettable. He was a pioneer in Japan, a leader in Queens, and a character the game won't soon forget. Baseball needs its strategists, its grinders, its legends, but sometimes it also needs its oddballs. And Bobby V might be the oddest of them all.